Happy Wednesday. We're coming down off of this heat wave, so I'm so happy to be back to canning. So we're going to can some greens today with ham. You can use turkey tails, you can use smoked turkey if you want, but we're going to use some of that better than bouillon, and we're going to use our 4 jars funnel, and of course we have our 4 jars lids. And the greens blend that we're going to use is a mixture of mustards, turnips, and also collards. So let's get started. So to start off, what we're going to do is we're going to blanch our greens for like 3 to 5 minutes. I had 2 bowls of these greens. So what I did was I worked them in 2 batches. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, I didn't chop up all these greens. I bought them pre-cut. I cleaned them. And this is the result that we got. Sometimes you got to work smarter and not harder. Yes, I have fresh greens in my garden, but hey, I took a shortcut today. So this is what they look like blanched. And after I got them out of the water, I made a new batch of water. I used the same pot. I washed it out, used a new batch. I put 2 heaping tablespoons of that better than bouillon chicken paste. And I'm going to mix that in, and I'm going to let that come to a nice little simmer so that I can use it in my jars. So let's start filling up our jars. In the bottom of our jars, we're going to put some of our ham, and we're going to kind of do a lasagna effect with this. So after the ham, we're going to put those greens down in there, but we're going to actually press those greens down in there really good to make sure that our jars get full, because you know greens shrink up and we don't want them just to kind of be floating all around. So I put some ham in the middle, and I am eventually going to put some more ham on the top because I had a little bit of that ham left. Now what I did was I did a 1/4 teaspoon of canning salt. I did not do a full teaspoon or a tablespoon because you know the broth might be a little bit more salt because of the better than bouillon, and the ham has a little bit of salt in it. So this is the finished result of our jars. A couple of our jars didn't have as much greens, but that's okay because we still gonna eat it. It's still gonna taste good, and that broth is gonna make it really savory. So I used my teapot strainer, so that I wouldn't have like any extra little residue off of that broth. And I started filling up my jars, and I left an inch of head space. So it's very important when you're doing something like this to debubble your jars, because you're going to see in a minute here, I debubbled my jars, and I'm going to give you a view to let you know that I got that chopstick all the way down in there to the bottom, and you see those air pockets popping up. You want to get all that air pockets out, and it actually dropped my head space some. So I took a little bit more broth, and I filled up my jars back to that 1-inch head space. And look at those beautiful jars. Again, you could use turkey. You don't have to use ham. You can use bacon, whatever you want to use, but cook that meat first before you put it in there. And then I clean my rims with white vinegar. Oh, and don't forget hot jars if you have hot food. So my jars were heated up. And I'm loading this into my Nesco canner because it was small batch. I only got 4 quarts out of what I did. I bought 3 bags of those pre-cut greens, and look at that. It's so pretty loaded up in that canner. I closed up my Nesco and I set it to exhaust. And then once it gets to E10, it's going to start to do a countdown. So I'm going to pressure can these for 90 minutes because it has the meat in it. I believe if it doesn't have meat, you can pressure can greens for 40 minutes. So after a cycle for a while, I got to E10. This is going to give you that 10-minute countdown of that steam that you have while it's on exhaust. Once it gets to E0, you set it to airtight. It'll cycle for a minute, and then it will put it on at 90 minutes. This is our finished result of our greens. Everything came out beautifully. I know this was a longer video, but I hope everybody stuck with me to see this beautiful end result. Go ahead and get started canning now. Happy canning and happy gardening. Have a blessed week.